we've had a pretty well-rounded chat, and a lot of the people that are tuning in want to know little tidbits to do with you being one of the cast members of Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I promise there is a relevant segue here when I'm talking about empowering women, because Zack Snyder, as a filmmaker, he really celebrates women and he really values strong women. And in a lot of the stories that he has, if we're talking about this project specifically anyway, he has said Victor Stone, Cyborg, is the heart of the film. And of course, his heart is his mother, and a lot of the trauma that we've seen. That's not a spoiler, it's in the trailer and Zack has talked about it, but it's about his mother and the love that he has. So was that something refreshing for you to work with, even though he's this big name director, but somebody that really does value and celebrate empowered women in that way?
You could tell. I've got to say, you talk about Victor's heart, Zack's heart is in that story. You can look at the trailers, you can feel the man's heart, and he's like that as a human being. So absolutely amazing to work with somebody who you can feel that's important to him, to celebrate women's, strong women's stories. But the whole thing that we're looking at, because again, I'm not going to talk too deeply about it, but even through the trailers, you can feel the man's heart. You can feel it. You can see it and you can feel it. And the thing that made it special is I've got to talk about Ray.
Yes, I was going to ask about Ray, because of course that's who you worked with for a lot of the time.
I love him. He's one of the most talented actors. Now, I've been at this for 20 odd years. I know I look 20 something, but darling, I'm not.
Of course you do.
He is one of the most talented actors I've ever had the pleasure of working with. You can see from the trailer, he's an emotionally intelligent actor. It's just there. I was a bit nervous, and we hugged on first meeting for a whole minute. And it was like, hi. I just knew. Because sometimes in this business, you could be paired with someone that you might not. And it's harder work to get a connection. I absolutely adore Ray. And I am excited for the fans who fought hard to see gorgeous Zack's vision. I'm excited. That's all I'm going to say. Not that I've seen it, but from what I can see of the trailers, what Zack was like as a human being, and of course, Ray, I'm excited for people to see, the new shots in the new trailer. Oh my God, with him looking out of the window.
Yes.
I wanted to scoop him up and make it okay.
Yeah, he's brilliant. You mentioned a bit about how Zack has this huge fandom that rallied behind him, and obviously that's why we now get to see your beautiful work in his film. I promise I'm not asking about spoilers, but being that this is part of a longer story and there were other films that came before it, what were your thoughts when you watched them, and the artistry, the storytelling? Because I think a lot of people have turned to those films even more now because hope is such a recurring thing in them.
Yes, that's again his heart. He is incredibly gifted. From a technical point of view, even some of those shots are mind-blowing. So it's interesting. You just said the word artistry, didn't you? Yes, that's him. That's him. He is, in the truest sense, an artist. His films before, I like the grading. One of the things I love about his films is the minute you switch something on, you're in it. It's not like you're half looking at your phone or you're in it, because he transports you there into a world wholeheartedly, looking at these fantastic, and the way he creates shots, and Yeah, you're in it. You're in the moment. There's none of this fiddling around. That's what I really love. And I think, speaking of hope, there's always themes of hope, but also the escapism part of it. We've got enough going on out there. There's enough scary, horrible things out there. It's nice to just go, right, I'm going to enter a world. And it's the first 5 seconds he's grabbed you and you're in there.
I just like that he ticks all the boxes as far as there's the very obvious visual style and aesthetic that he has going, but also as someone who is not white, I often don't feel included in the storytelling, but with him, it's not just the surface level matter of being inclusive, but he'll put really important themes and issues into the films. Like the whole arc of Superman as a character is very much, he's an immigrant, he's a refugee, and he doesn't know where he fits into this society that he has grown up in, and he doesn't know if he's allowed to fully be himself. And I mean, I can relate to that as somebody who, I'm Japanese, but I don't live in Japan. So, you know, I like that you get to be part of this larger mythos that he's building with all of that, because it's, you know, it's putting women at the forefront. It's, you know, empowering multicultural groups to know that we have a place in these other societies that we live in.
And I think he tells the truth in terms of human behavior. That's why there's longevity there. It's the human condition, and telling the truth of the human condition. That has longevity.
Absolutely. And there's always a lot of pushback as well when people are ahead of the curve and when they push things forward. So they get upset when they see women as leads or people of color as leads, and they think, oh, you're just doing that you're doing that for good PR, essentially is what they think you're doing. But you need people to tell those stories that mean them authentically. Like if we bring it back to Zack, I promise I'm not trying to goad you into saying spoilers. It's just relevant to what we're talking about. But Zack had a film called Sucker Punch, and that was before the Me Too movement came out. So I think people really didn't understand that film was addressing a very dark thing that exists in society about a very patriarchal world and how it treats women and how it objectifies them and how they feel entitled to women and women's bodies. And that film is about giving those women their own power back. And a lot of people did not understand that. So, you know, I'm glad that we have allies like Zack. Not that he's ever called himself an ally, but, you know, I will call him an ally as a woman. I will say that he's an ally to the community, you know, of we need people who use their privilege like he has to open the door for the rest of us and you know, give us the platform to put those stories out there. Because everything you're talking about, I mean, you go back, and a lot of art does not age well. His art ages very well.
Exactly. That's what I meant about telling the truth. That's why it has longevity. And that is the truth. Even though people might not have accepted it then or confused by it, that's what he's really good at. And that has longevity.
I'm going to have to wrap up just about now. But I did want to ask you, since everyone is so interested in everything to do with Zack, what do you think makes him special and unique as a director? Because obviously you've worked with a number of directors, so what stands out for you?
Incredibly creative, a heart of gold, a very open heart, and fun. He's a fun energy. Because it's scary, you know, as an actor coming in, if you haven't got a director who's warm and you know, friendly, you'd be terrified, and you can't, as an actor, be as open or creative because you're scared of just a warm, inclusive person who's ridiculously creative and ridiculously talented.